Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'd love to share with you today a fun fold card, a really simple one, using the Cottage Wreaths bundle. This bundle has been so popular that I know currently it is not orderable, but I'm very hopeful that it will be soon. And so I want to go ahead and show it. You may already own it. And if you do, that's great. If not, I know that you can substitute this same layout with other stamps. And so you can still get great use out of it. And I'm hopeful that you will reference this video later when you do decide to purchase this bundle. I know that Stampin' Up! Has come out with a lot of different wreath bundles in the past, but this one really is pretty neat, and it has 3+ is what I'm going to say, seasonal options. And I say plus because you can make this into so many things beyond seasonal cards. So let me talk through kind of what you might need. Keep in mind that all of the measurements I will share in this video are going to be posted on my blog, justalittle.ink.com. At any time you want to order any of the products that I share, you can find those on my Stampin' Up! Website, justalittle.ink.stampinup.net. Please use the host code. I post it here for the month of October, but it's always on my blog with the current host code for the month. Again, justalittle.ink.com. And that's for any orders that are under $150. You don't want to place it if you're placing an order of $150 or more, because it will keep you from earning rewards from Stampin' Up! And we don't want that. Any rewards I give, those are listed again on my blog. You will still get those if you spend the $150 or more. So let's get started. So you need the Cottage Wreaths stamp set, the coordinating die set, and then you are going to need for this is a side flip, what I refer to as a side flip card. You need a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock for this fall wreath card I'm going to work on. This is cut at 5.5. Oops, nope, got to look at the right place. It is 5.5, 5.5 by 7.25, and you're going to score it at 3 inches from one end. You also will need a piece of Cajun Craze that is 3.25 by 6.5, and you're going to score it at 3.25. You're going to need a couple pieces. I'm using Very Vanilla. You're going to need one piece that is 3 by 3, and you're going to need one that is 3 inches by 5.5. Then you'll need a scrap piece of Mossy Meadow. That's so we can cut our bow. And then you need 2 pieces of Designer Series paper. I'm using the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper. One side is nice fall prints, and the other side's black and whites. You can certainly color them with the blends. It's a fun thing to be doing. One of them needs to be cut 1 1/8 by 5.5. The other 2 3/4 inch by 5.5. And again, all those measurements I will have on my blog. So let's grab a couple things I know I am going to need from this. This is a 2-step stamp. So I need both of these, I need both of the wreaths. So I need this wreath that's got the leaves, and then I also need the wreath that's the twigs. So I need those. I'm also going to use this grateful words. I'm going to pull that out. You notice that on all of the newer photopolymer stamps that Stampin' Up! Carries, all of the newer ones, the inside of your case has all of those stamps printed on it so that you know where to place them on the inside of your case, and then you'll know if they're missing. Great thing. When I use photopolymer stamps, I want to use my Pierce mat. And what I've done with this Pierce mat, I've cut one in half because so often I don't need a large Pierce mat. I need a smaller Pierce mat. And so I'm going to pull that out so that we can do our stamping. I'm not going to stamp a lot on this card, so these go together really pretty quick. I'm going to pull out my 3x3 Very Vanilla, and I'm going to start using from the lightest to the darkest. You could go either way, really isn't going to matter. So I'm going to ink up on some Cajun, or excuse me, not Cajun, crushed curry. Nice, beautiful fall yellow. Let's see if I can decide correctly. I'm going to stamp it down. This gives you a cushion that photopolymer stamps don't have. So there we go. I go lighter to darker because then I can ink into my next color, the Cajun Craze, without cleaning my stamp. If I had it darker to light, I'd have to clean it in between. So I'm going to ink up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come just with a little bit of a twist, just so I'm not stamping them exactly on top of one another. I kind of want a peek through of one color. And so I twist it. So that's all I'm going to use with those leaves. And that would be pretty all on its own. But I really found that I liked the twig wreath to get stamped as well. So I'm stamping that using some early espresso. Again, it'd be pretty without the early espresso. And I'm going to lean in just a little bit so I can kind of see what I've got going on. I'm going to twist just a bit, like so. And then before I put my early espresso away, I'm going to ink up that Grateful. And I'm going to do it just in this lower left corner. Get down far enough that you can see it. Hold it there a minute. You can pull that away. And that's all the stamping I'm going to use. You certainly could then go ahead and stamp on the inside of your card, though I'm not going to. So I'm going to let that sit there. I'm doing a pretty simple card because I'm not doing much die cutting at all. The only thing I'm die cutting is going to be the bow. And there's two different ways you can cut that bow. You could stamp it and then cut it out using the outlined bow die. I'm going to use the one that's got an embossing to it. So I'm going to pull out my mini, and push this up here. I'm going to pull out my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I keep this on my desk all the time. Just makes it quick. Both of our die cutting machines, I think, are really well done. But depending on what you've got space-wise, this pairs really nicely. So I just need to line it up here. Always want at least 1/4 inch of an overlap on the top plate from the bottom plate so that you can grip and it'll run through. And when you do that, it'll run through every time. So I'm going to run through here. We'll set the die cutting machine out of the way. Here I've got my beautiful bow. Put my die on the plate. Okay. Get all of these out of your way. And then I can assemble. So I'm going to pull out my liquid glue, my multi-purpose liquid glue. Good old green tip glue is how I call it so often. Just a little bit will go a long way. You could also attach adhesive sheet to the back, but I didn't find it was necessary. And I wanted it to be offset over here on this other side, just for interest. And put it there. Then we're going to start assembling. So set my papers on the one side, my folded piece here. So I'm going to fold this in. Make sure that it's along that score line. Give it a nice crisp score, or fold using my bone folder. Useful tool. I've got my score line, and I always fold it with the score up, so the bump up toward me. And that way I'm not going to have those fibers going to be splitting on the other side. What I find if you do it the other direction, I oftentimes will get little splits. So then I'm going to come here, do the same thing on the little 6.5 by 3 1/4. I've got that folded. So I'm going to open it this way. I'm going to take along one end, doesn't really matter which. Use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to run a line of adhesive along the fold and here. I want a little more on this back side than I would maybe normally do. I'm going to take along the full portion of the back, and I'm not going to go at half. I'm going to come in, and I only want it down 3/4 of an inch to an inch. You can place it anywhere you want along this side. So I'm going to fold here. So I've got my score and my fold. Make sure I'm nice and straight along the edge. Now I'm ready to put all my pieces in. And what I found worked real well was to go ahead and take my Very Vanilla for the inside and put a little adhesive on the back. And I'm going to line it up and butt it basically right up into that fold. Make sure I'm not too high and not too low. And we'll start to cover up where this overlaps mostly. Then this 1-inch piece, the 1 1/8. There's some really big prints on this particular paper pack, and they are beautiful, and they would allow you to pretty much, if you wanted to put some pretty words, to do something with hardly any stamping and go together really fast. So I've got a little bit of an overhang here that I wanted. And on this side, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my other piece. I could see this being really pretty if you chose to use our blends to color those leaves. Again, I'm going to run just a little bit of Stampin' Seal. On this side, I want a little overhang on both sides. I'm going to line it up and get a little bit of an edge, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to close my card, and then I can stick this on the front. And when I do, I want to line up so I've got just a little bit of an edge. And I need to grab one thing because I'm not going to be done without a little bit of bling. So give me a second to find my jewels. Want to use some of our champagne rhinestone basic jewels. I'm going to pull out my Take Your Pick tool. It's my favorite way to grab those. It's got a little bit of a sticky paste that's on one end. This is bought in refills, so you don't have to worry if they go out. And I'm going to take and put one down here, one of the smaller ones. These come in 3 sizes. I've used all the smallest size. I'm going to put a small one on this end. I'm going to put a small one up here. Oh, it got moved there. And then I'm going to take one of our larger ones and kind of stick it over here. Put as many as you'd like. You could scatter them other places, but however you'd like. And when you do, then you've got a nice fun fold card that you can send. It'll be perfect for the holidays with fall, with Thanksgiving. Be an awesome Thanksgiving card. I want to show you one other card I'd put together with Christmas colors. And this one I went a little bit more. It's a little heavier. I'm not sure if I like it as heavy, but I took and I used Pear Pizzazz, Old Olive, and Garden Green. Garden Green is the paper that coordinates. This is with our new candy cane suite that's in the mini, the July to December mini catalog. That's where this stamp set and bundle is from. And I loved how it changes the look just by changing the colors of your designer series paper. If you are one who celebrates Halloween, there is a spider on this. There's also a boo. Definitely some fun things to do. You could add little acorns. There's so much fun stuff. You could have falling leaves in other places. I think there's just so many great options for this wonderful stamp set and bundle. So thanks again for joining me. Again, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd so appreciate it if you would. Please like, share, and comment. And I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye. Have a wonderful